Samantapasadika Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata
Dhammo
Dhammam
Dhammani
Supatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Okay, we would like to invite Brother Yap to commence with the class. Brother Yap, our session will start from now. That is 8:05. Okay, till 10:05. Okay,
So,
please let us know if you would like to set any break time during the session. So I hand over the class to Brother Yap now.
okay, thanks. So today 2 topics, 2 hours.
Yes.
Hopefully 1 hour.
2 topics.
Topic.
Oh.
And
First Buddhist council,
according
second
to
Buddhist council, isn't it?
first and second, according to history, so a bit more complicated or more detailed than what I have told you in the diploma class. They were strictly according to a Pali tradition. So I have to explain the differences. So, okay, the first Buddhist council. Normally, we don't, the council is a very misleading word. They thought it's a board, is a body of an organization, In fact, in Pali, they call Sangiti, is an assembly. For what purpose? To rectify, to confirm the correct teaching of the Buddha. So at the end, all the Sangha recite the corrected version. So the type of assembly get together to discuss for such purposes we call Sangiti. Or in modern words, somebody translated as council. I don't know why or how. But anyhow, when we talk about first council, we mean it's a assembly, or use a modern term, meeting, convention of all the Sangha, not only a particular group of Sangha in the same small region or something like that. It's something like national convention, national assembly, because they talk about all the very serious, important issue concern the whole Sangha, the teaching, overall correct teaching. So that's the main purpose for calling a council meeting, assembly. First thing, the meaning of council, the purpose of calling a council meeting. So briefly, lah. So normally they call it for the purpose of rectification of either Dharma or Vinaya. That's why they have to call it overall national, so-called national. It's not a particular affair that concerns a small group of community. The one we don't call it a national Sangiti. This is maybe their monasteries internal affair. This is different. This is national, concern all the Sangha and issues concerning Dharma or Vinaya that concern or affect the whole communities. Okay, first thing. So the first council was held about few months. Most of the people say about 3 months after Parinibbana of Buddha. You see, there was a yes. So the main source, if we want to strictly follow the information, early Buddhist texts, then we have to trace, get the info from Cullavagga, the Cullavagga of Cullavagga, chapter 11. Okay, that's a primary source. But according to Theravada tradition, there are additional information. Then you have to get more information from the commentary to the Vinaya. The commentary on the Pali Vinaya. It's called Samantapasadika, compiled by Buddhaghosa, not during Buddha's time, around 800 or 900 years after Buddha's Pali Nibbana, 5th century AD, so-called AD, now they call CE, Common Era. So these two books that I use, but Samantapasadika, the translation that I have, it's not the whole Vinaya's commentary, only the certain chapter that's most important. Inception of Discipline and the Vinaya Nadana. It's translated by Professor Jayavikrama, Sri Lankan professor. So these books only form the beginning first few chapters of the commentary Samantapasadika, but it's good enough, you see. Other than that, there are no other books that we need to use it. These two is good enough. Okay. Okay. So now we come back to the actual meeting of the first council. As I told you, it was held about 3 months after Pali Nibbana of Buddha. Why monks call for this meeting? Who called for this meeting? Then we have to know the background information, the reason, the causes. You see, when we know where. Before we talk about where, we must explain why. You know, when Buddha passed away, into Pali Nibbana, Mahakassapa and his disciples was not in Kusinara. He was with his 500 disciples traveling from Pawa. From Pawa to from, in fact, the Mara region, Pawa is under Mara, towards Kusinara. So on the way, they met an ascetic called Subhada. This Subhada is different. It's not the Subhada Buddha met on a night of Pali Nibbana. That Subhada was the last convert, correct or not? Also called Subhada. So this is different Subhada. Okay, so you cannot say same name means the same person. Right? We also have Ananda nowadays, but this Ananda today is not those days Ananda, correct or not? So they met the ascetic called Subhada. Subhada was holding a type of heavenly flowers. So Mahakassapa noticed, heavenly celestial flower. Only on certain important occasion, there's a flower would fall down from the sky, right or not? Buddhist stories, sometimes, enlightenment or anything, celestial music. You read the book in it with celestial music, with flower dropping down, this and that. This type of Buddhist stories. So Mahakassapa and the disciples saw this Subhada holding the celestial flowers. He was wondering, but some important event happened, So they approached this Subhada ascetic. Say, what happened? What happened? Why you are holding this? Oh, this Subhada was excited. He told Mahakassapa, oh, you know that? Do you know or not the enlightened one, Gautama Buddha, passed into Pali Nibbana in Sala Group. So then Mahakassapa heard the news, he got a shock. But other monks, all with different response, you see. Some of the monks enlightened Arahant, because Mahakassapa also got disciple who were Arahant. So the Arahant disciple, they contemplate, they're very calm, contemplate impermanent, life impermanent, this and that. But others, disciples, especially the new disciples, they still have the old habit lah. Not enlightened yet, correct or not? They for the basic behavior, the normal behavior, they feel very sad. You know, the ancient Indian, if you read the Sutta and Buddhist story, they will pull their hair, beat the chest, correct or not? Bang, bang, bang. Oh, very sad, very sad. Right or not? This is an Indian style, the ancient Indian style, not a modern one. If you tell them, they feel angry. So those days, this unenlightened Buddha's disciple, after hearing the sad news, pull the hair and then beat the chest and then the roll on the floor. That's the style on the floor. Just like a baby, a small boy on the floor crying and crying, same thing. So different people behave differently, you see. But Mahakassapa was a bit calm because he also enlightened, you see. So he heard one of the disciples called Subhada say what, oh, instead of feeling sad, instead of feeling sad or feeling calm, he exclaimed, oh, very happy, He said, oh, nowadays, nobody come and tell us to do this, not to do that, not to do this. You must do this, you must do that, nobody control us. You see, because monk is supposed to follow all the Vinaya very strict, you see. So Mahakassapa overheard. He felt a bit surprised, alarmed. Be careful. Wow, Buddha just passed away. And some of the monks, they behave like that, they forgot the rules already. They feel so happy some more. Right now. So he realized later, very soon, the wrong teachings or wrong discipline were crept into Buddha's teaching. Some people may not follow the rules. Some people may not follow the right teaching. So he was a bit alarmed, a bit careful. So quickly they all went to Jetavana, not Jetavana, Kusinara, Sala Grove there. So they went there. So after they arranged, a Brahmin arranged all the cremation, this and that. When all these things has been ritual ceremony over, cremation over, distribution of relic also over, then Mahakassapa decided, oh, now it's time. Everybody settled already. We call for a meeting. So it's time to do that now. So he was thinking, I have to, call a meeting, and he wanted to choose a group of 500 Arahant monks to attend, because only the Arahant, they could decide, make the right decision, correct or not? In a meeting, they can decide what to do, proper teaching, this and that. So he selected 499, count, 499. Then a lot of monks there, he nominated Ananda. You see, Ananda, he would be in Buddha's kapia. He heard personally from Buddha's mouth the true teaching for past 20 over years. Right now. So he should attend. But that time Ananda was not enlightened Arahant yet. Sotapanna. You see. So no choice. So but still have to choose, have to accept him. So Ananda knew that everybody also Arahant. He was not Arahant, so he practiced very hard, So one night before that, he only gained arahantship. But then, okay, we come back to this thing, this issue. 500 arahant, 500 people, 499 arahant plus Ananda have been selected. Then, second thing, they had to decide the venue. So, after much discussion, they decided to hold a meeting in Rajagaha at a place they call Satapana Cave. There's 7 caves, Satapana Cave, 7 caves. Chinese said, one row, you know. You went there before, Juliana. Yes. So why they wanted to hold a meeting there? Because Rajagaha at that time was ruled by who? Ajatasattu. Later he converted into a Buddhist already by that time because earlier on he listened to wrong advice from Devadatta. Later he declared that he became Buddha's disciple. So after Buddha passed away, he supported Buddhism. So the monks decided to hold a meeting there because Ajatasattu can provide all the material support. See there. There's a reason. So where a number of people attendees and the venue they have decided. So all of them start moving to Rajagaha at a cave called Satapana Cave. Satapani Cave. Satapana. Oh no, this is Sotapana. This is a Satapani Cave. Not far from the town of Rajagaha, on the top of a hill. We managed to climb up, right or not? I was the last one to climb up together with Juliana, all this, you see. So the hill, not very, I think few 100 feet, I think easy to climb up. So rows of 7 caves, that's why they call Satapani Cave. See? This one we explained already, why they chose this place for their meeting, because King Ajatasattu, Magadha Kingdom, could support such a big assembly. Few hundred monks together, plus few other monks together, you see. They can support all the arms, food, all these things, you see. So during that time, it's more or less Vasa already. So most of them have a meeting at the same time to pass their Vasa there, see. So Ananda, we come back to the earlier issue. We say Ananda still not yet Arahant yet. He only attained Sotapana, you see. So he practiced very hard. So practice the night before his the meeting. He practiced very hard. And then he, no choice, wanted to, too tired, wanted to sleep, wanted to lie down. So before his head touched on the stone pillow, the time stone pillow, not the modern pillows. And when at the same time, the legs raised on top of the air. When you want to sit, you sit down, your leg put up, then the head put down, correct or not? Halfway, when this leg up, the head before touching the pillow, then he suddenly thought of something. He gained enlightenment. You see, so that's another way. Normally people sit down, meditate, very quiet and gain enlightenment, correct or not? Or walking, meditation and gain enlightenment. But Ananda's case is very special. Neither is lie down, not consider lying down, not consider sleeping, not consider standing, and he gain enlightenment. I don't know how this way. So he gained enlightenment the night before the meeting. So next morning, actual council meeting, so exactly they got 500 arahant. That's the beginning, the story about the courses, the venue, the number of people who attended the meeting. So this is the Satapani cave. This is a Satapani cave. So the time we went, 10 years ago, exactly, 2015, with
Yeah, this one is the time that we went together lah.
Yes, there, I show you your voice there.
My goodness.
Where are you live?
Where the first Buddhist council was held.
See?
It's on the top of Buddha Hill.
There, your voice. There, go ahead.
17th year.
Satapani cave.
10 years ago, is it, Brother Yap?
Yes, 2015.
Okay. I went in 2023. Ayah Sumangala brought us there also.
Then this one, Juliana, yeah, this one.
Cannot see,
Okay. You want to hear a voice?
Buddha Hill.
There, Juliana. That's Juliana. Okay. So the venue, okay, then actual proceeding. Mahakassapa was elected as the president or the chairman of the meeting. He presided the meeting. Okay. So first issues, first item, agenda, call up Venerable Upali to decide Vinaya rule. Venerable Upali was a specialist. Why? Why he specialized in all this? Why he knew a lot about the Vinaya rules? He was a barber, correct or not? And why barber expert in this rule? Because people ordination, he had to cut people's hair. And then every time when people cut hair during ordination, this and that, he always there, listen to a rule, listen to a procedure, this and that. That's why he learned a lot of these Vinaya rules, expert in rules. People. So Mahakassapa asked him to decide the rules. So he recited the rules. You see, first agenda, recitation of Vinaya rule by Venerable Upali. So according to tradition means according to Samantapasadika, this book is not from the Vinaya text, it's from the commentary. Commentary says that he started reciting the first 4 parajika, major offenses, rule concerning the 4 major offenses, no killing, this and that, you see. Then after reciting the Vinaya rules, then he continued with other rules, 227 rule, Pali's one. He said all the rules he recited. After that, only he decided Khandaka, Pavarina, all 5 Vinaya texts, what we have today. This is what the tradition says. You see? That means the 5 texts that we have today were decided during the meeting. Tradition says, not history. Because you follow the early Vinaya text, he never mentioned the 5 texts being decided during the meeting. So I have to tell you, this is the tradition. Commentary says that. Then what about the explain and the story in both bhikkhu and bhikkhunis, Vibhanga. Vibhanga inside you have a lot of rules, right or not? Bhikkhuni Vibhanga, Bhikkhu Vibhanga, inside story and the rules. The story part are the commentary, it's not the Buddha's words. Only the Bhaktimokka rule inside the Vibhanga. are real Buddha's rules, Vinaya rules. Okay, one thing I have to remind you. So nowadays, if you get hold of the Vinaya text, you read a lot of story, all this thing happened where and when, and then at the end, Buddha proclaimed what sort of rule is. That rule, consider Buddha's word Patimokkha rule. The rest of explanation here, where, why, all these are explanation, commentary stories. Okay, so during a recitation, Pali's recitation, Mahakassapa asked him, when the rule was proclaimed, the story behind, reason, the causes, this and that. Then Mahakassapa had to answer. Oh, this one was decided where and where. Oh, Rahula, parents must agree that when kids become a samaneri, oh, this rule was proclaimed in in Kapilavatthu, the outside there, the forest there. Buddha went back to Kapilavatthu in it. That one because the King Suroana disagree. He felt not happy. Such a young boy who go and ordain him as samaneri. So from that on, that rule was proclaimed. And then after that, Buddha set a rule. You see, so he has to explain all these things. Upali explained the causes, this rule where and when was proclaimed by Buddha and why, and the reason behind it. Mahakassapa asked, Upali answer. Then he mentioned a rule. So everyone listen. Yeah. 4, 9, 8 other Arahant all listen carefully. You see, they memorize. You see, all the 500 plus Upali who decided this, plus Mahakassapa, the chairman, the rest 4, 9, 8 all listen carefully. You see. So Mahakassapa questioned him all these things, the praise, the subject matter, exemption or not, you see, individual who concern who, right? For example, concern Rahula, or concern so and so, concern Sudana, who went back to the wife and then stay overnight there. So all this story he must mention. You see, for example, Buddha went to Kausambi, he noticed a monk lying outside the city gate, mabok, you see. Then on that day, Buddha passed a rule, no, monk cannot drink. Those say monk drink mabok one. That's why, have you heard the people say that initially were only 4 precepts, excluding the liquor, correct or not? That one was introduced later, you see. Because a monk was found drunken and then slept lying on the floor for a whole day. Next, so Buddha said, you're very bad, Then proclaim the rule, no drinking. You see. So when Upali decided this, and then Kassapa questioned him regarding all his background info, he answered correctly, everything. All the rule complete. And people ask him, he also answer back. No problem, finish all the rules. Then the next agenda, Mahakassapa called upon Ananda to decide the sutta, Dharma, we call it Dharma. Because in the Pali early suttas, Buddha called his teaching what? Dharma Vinaya. Ask him to decide Dharma. Or we want to say, ask him to decide sutta also not. Okay lah, not too bad lah. So why they asked Ananda to decide? As I said before, because Ananda served as a personal attendant for 20 over years. He heard all, his belief that he heard all the sutta from Buddha's, personally from Buddha's mouth. Right now, there's a condition Ananda requested Buddha when he accepted the job as a personal attendant. He must hear all the teaching. So Ananda start deciding the sutta one by one. According to tradition, that means according to Buddha Ghosa's commentary, he says that Ananda started with this Brahmanjala Sutta first. Then after that, Samanapala Sutta. Then followed by other suttas, you see. Then finished all the sutta that you can find in the five Nikaya. You mentioned five Nikaya, in the commentary. You see, even though the term five Nikaya, we don't find it in the Buddha's early sutta. Even Buddha never say I have five Nikaya also, but commentary mentioned the commentary. I don't know why he came up with this term five Nikaya. But anyhow, according to commentary, this Buddha Ghosa says that during the meeting, Ananda started with a Brahmanjala Sutta, then followed by Samanapala Sutta, and then continue until he finished all the sutta in the five Nikaya. Okay, but commentary also mentioned that Abhidhamma is Buddha's teaching. There's commentary, not history, it's a commentary. That's according to tradition. But the commentary never says that Abhidhamma was decided by somebody during a meeting, never. Because during a meeting, they only say that Upali decided rules. Ananda decided the Dhamma, Sutta, that's all. Never said another person decided Abhidhamma, never say. And the commentary also never say that, oh, Abhidhamma has been compiled during Buddha's time, never. If Abhidhamma has been compiled during Buddha's time, then it must be, decided during a meeting, correct or not? So the tradition only say that, oh, Abhidhamma was part of the teaching, Buddha's teaching, that's all, you see. So after Ananda, according to actual history, that means according to the Vinaya text, he only says that Ananda decided the teaching of Buddha, the Dhamma, that's all. And then when the same pattern as Upali Mahakassapa had to question Ananda, or when was it, when did Buddha say that, in which place, this the subject matter of the sutta, this and that, all the background information, the place, the cause. So Ananda have to say, oh, thus I heard all this and that. He cannot say, I say this sutta, or spoken by me, correct? I must say, oh, I have heard it from Buddha, or something like that. Then he began with all the actual sutta teaching, you see. So he was questioned by Mahakassapa about the venue, the place, the person to whom the sutta concerned. This sutta was spoken by Buddha. Somebody come and inquire, ask Buddha about this and that, right? Right or not? The sutta always say that. In Jetavana, one day Ananda Bhikkhu came and he asked this, that. Then that means the place must be mentioned, to whom the sutta concerning whom, preach whom, talk about what, all inside there. So Ananda was the answer the question asked by Mahakassapa. You see. So Ananda one by one, he finished all the sutta and he answered all the questions raised by Mahakassapa one by one. The actual Vinaya text never mentioned, oh, first sutta Brahmajala, then second sutta decided Samanapala, this and that, never say that. Okay, only the commentary mentioned that, you see. So you have to be careful. So Theravada's teaching include commentary. But if we say the early teaching, according to early teaching, according to early sutta, early Vinaya, we don't mention this, oh, Ananda decided this, that part we don't say. We say according to early text, Ananda decided Dharma or Sutta. Upali decided Vinaya rule. That's all. After all, in the Sutta, Buddha called his teaching as Dharma Vinaya. That's all. No such Abhidharma, this and that. So actual meeting, if you say according to early text, strictly mention Ananda and Upali, only say they decided rule and decided Sutta. And then Mahakassapa questioned them this place, venue, reason, this and that. That's all. That's an actual, we say history lah, according to history lah. Okay. Then third agenda. First, Upali is reciting rule. Second, Ananda reciting discourses or suttas. Third, then they discuss minor and lesser rules. So in the Parinibbana Sutta, you remember Buddha told Ananda, say, all these small rules, if you want, if the Sangha wish, you can forget it. You need not follow. You never say you have to cancel lah. You need not follow it lah. But Ananda did not ask him for details, get more detail. Which are the rules, small rule, which one considers major rule, which group consider minor rule. Because so many rules, he also feel very sad during that time, so he's too sorrowful at that moment. When during a meeting, people accuse Ananda. You should ask Buddha for more details. When Buddha say minor rule, which are the minor rules? But you never ask. We also don't know which one to follow and not to follow, this and that. So very confusing. So people accuse Ananda. Ananda give a reason. Oh, during that time, I was too sad, too sorrowful. I heard Buddha announce that he is going to pass into Parinibbana in 3 months' time, this and that. That's why all the while something very bad. So never ask him all the details, So people argue and argue lah. People say this one minor, that one minor. They couldn't come to a conclusion. You see. So what happened? Mahakassapa as a chairman, he made a decision. Keep all the rules. You see. People cannot decide. You argue like that, they argue like that. Talk. So long, so cannot stop. You see. So make a decision. All the rules remain, whether minor or major rules. You see, since Ananda didn't ask for the detail, and nobody can decide which are major, which are minor, unless Buddha was there to tell you. You cannot decide which is major, is rule, right or not? So Mahakassapa make a decision. He give a reason that first thing, nobody knows the details, which one important rule, which one minor. Second thing, if we decide during a meeting, or this rule, that rule should be forgotten, not to follow, then people may misunderstood. You see, say, oh, Buddha just passed away few months. These people already start forgetting all this rule and that rule. So don't give people a very bad impression, this and that. So keep the rule is the best answer for the time being. So until today, nobody knows that which one should be considered minor or major rule. You see. So the fourth agenda, charges against Ananda. This one I told you, the minor rules they couldn't decide, so they blame Ananda. So they wanted to charge Ananda. Say, why you never ask Buddha for detail, right? No. People say, during a meeting, monks criticized Ananda that he did not ask Buddha which were the lesser rule. Ananda explained he was too sad, too sorrowful, that he was overwhelmed with grief. Very, very sad. That I forgot to ask about the details. So there's one charge, one accusation. Not only the monks accuse Ananda, or they want to charge Ananda for few charges. Forgetting to ask for rules, only the first charge. Second charge, he let the woman, the Buddha's garment, trapped by the garment, he tread on the garment of Buddha, because at the time nobody, he said nobody helped him while he was sewing, preparing a garment for Buddha when Buddha was alive. Sometimes he have to help to be a personal attendant. He have to do all these things, you see. So people found out that, oh, sometimes he used to tread on the garment. People now charge him. That time he never complained, you see. Now charge him. Ananda said, oh, that time he was doing this work alone, nobody helped him. So no choice, I have to do that, you see. So the third thing, he let the woman salute Buddha's body remains after Pali Nibbana, right or not? Buddha's body was lying between two Sara tree, you see. So a lot of Mara people came to pay the last respect. Too many people, so Ananda allowed the woman to pay respect first. So people blame him lah. Why you let the woman salute Buddha's body remain first? Ananda say, oh, that time let them go first. Maybe too late, this and that. So he didn't want to detain them for a long time for a woman. Let them pay respect first and then go back first. There's a reason given by Ananda. You see. So charges against Ananda, there were 4 or 5, right or not? Small rule, treading on, stepping on the garment, let the woman to pay respect first. Then during the Pali, the last 3 months, according to Pali Nibbana Sutta, Buddha mentioned to Ananda that if they all wish, he can live for another eon, another world cycle, another kalpa. But Ananda was not paying attention, you see. He did not request, even though Buddha asked several times. He also never paid attention, never said, oh, we wish Buddha to remain in our world, in our human world for another eon, another cycle, or billion years. But he never requested. So Buddha said, sorry, you can later Ananda remember, right or not? Then he requested, Buddha said, sorry, 3 times over already. Cannot. There was a Pali Nibbana Sutta inside there. Ananda did not. So later, during a meeting, the monks accused him. Why didn't you request Buddha to live for another eon, despite Buddha's mentioning to you that he could live for another eon if you requested me? Also, Ananda explained that time he was influenced by Mara, the Mara evil one. He didn't want Buddha to live, for another eon, long time, you see. So he somehow blocked Ananda, blocked this and that, influenced by Mara. So Ananda couldn't hear, couldn't make decision. That's why he never asked Buddha to stay for another eon. So he explained to the monks during a meeting in this way. But why Buddha stopped him, I don't never reminded him. That one we don't know. Sutta never explained. Okay. Number 5, fifth charge. All the monks during a meeting accused Ananda. why you appeals, you requested Buddha to that woman to be admitted into the order. You see, Ananda say, out of compassion, because stepmother Mahapajapati took care of Buddha when he was a small kid, a baby. So out of compassion, so now we let her be admitted and become a bhikkhuni, you see. So there's a reason given by Ananda, you see. And there's Ananda's side. Ananda, of course, Ananda also asked Buddha whether a woman can gain enlightenment, correct or not? Buddha said yes, yes. So since men and women can gain enlightenment, and another reason is that being your stepmother who nurture you, who took care of you since you were a small kid, so our compassion that them became a nun, you see. So because of Ananda's appeal to the Buddha's help, women could be admitted into the order. So some people, of course, they are not happy during the meeting, they start accusing Ananda. So Ananda had to answer all this. So altogether, 5 charges against Ananda. You see, Ananda, one after another one, he explained. You see, right from a minor rule, treading on the garment, that a woman pay respect to Buddha's body remain, then did not ask Buddha to live for another eon, and then he requested Buddha to allow women to be ordained as nun. So the 5 charges Ananda explained very well. So they are all very satisfied. Okay. But then another reason is that since all these mistakes, so-called offenses, open and close inverted comma offenses, in fact it's a mistake or negligence, you can say committed before enlightenment. Now Ananda enlightened, became Arahant, so you cannot punish. So Arahant, and then this thing cannot be enforceable, you see. The question is, normally people ask me, why mistakes, this and that, committed before the enlightenment, now enlightened, becomes unenforceable or non-enforceable. So any discussions? People also ask about Angulimala, kill so many people and supposed to go to hell. How come we still enlighten Arahant and then no punishment? The same nature, same answers, I say. Because the text never explains. So people always talk and argue and then discuss. Maybe Juliana, you can offer your answer also can, you see.
Oh, you look so highly on me, Brother Yap.
Of course, you in the one of the top student in the diploma class.
Oh, So which one am I supposed to answer? The Angulimala or this one?
No, this one you see, I just want to know your opinion because the text never explained correctly. But Angulimala is okay because before his bad karma ripens, he already enlightened. So enlightened already all the previous karma, the black so-called black and white karma, the black karma and white karma have been eradicated along the supramundane path, as the panya.
Father Yap, can I ask you, these charges against Ananda is under which scriptures?
Vinaya.
So is this one
Vinaya
is
text. Vinaya
recorded
text,
in
you
the
can find all
Vinaya?
these things, yes. Cullavagga. Come back. Yes, Cullavagga, you read Cullavagga in our text.
So that
yes.
means, so the second allegation against Venerable Ananda, it means that the monks were not happy that women were admitted into the
Yes.
Sangha lah.
Yeah, a lot. Sure. So what in this, you cannot have 100% people who agree with whatever you had done, you know. Sure one, some people will sure query you one, correct or not?
Yeah. Because it's actually the council, it's only by the monks. The bhikkhunis didn't take part, isn't it? They were not
So they're
invited
not
to
happy
take part.
lah. That's why they're not happy. Why Ananda you allow the big woman to be admitted? So they raised in the meeting lah. Since Ananda was
Oh,
there.
the Buddha allowed women to
Allowed,
be
yes.
admitted, but Venerable Ananda
So,
pleaded
that's
on
why
their
we were
behalf.
wondering why, since Buddha allowed, once you have accepted the 8 Garudharma,
Yeah
so
lor.
there's to close the file
The
already.
Buddha's decision, ma.
The file in close file, close issue. So why they raise this issue again? You see? That one never explained because
Some more is these charges because they were all arahants, you know.
that's why.
So I'm very surprised that it was raised.
Yes, later when we talk about the second Buddhist councils, the theory Mahadeva 5 point, have you heard of that? Because Theravada says that Arahants perfect. Other school never says that, you know. Mahasankika, other school they say Arahant can regress.
Can regress.
Instead of improving, now you forget slack already. Some of that go backwards. You see. There's other schools.
Really? Other schools
Yes. If you follow Theravada, you say all perfect, Arahant perfect, past mistake you cannot enforce. So this and yet people raise this question. So no wonder during those days, some other schools, and the monk or other school, they question the nature of Arahant. That's the reason. You see, the one we discussed in second council.
Okay, thank you.
Where Ananda, Charles Ananda, then Chanya, charioteer, the Buddha's attendant, you say. So he was this Chanya was very arrogant. So the thing is that during Buddha's time, never punish him. So during a meeting only, they raised this question, you see. At that time, nobody complained. So during a meeting, people complained. Ananda raised this issue. Ananda told the meeting that, before his Parinibbana, he wanted Chanya, his personal attendant, charioteer, be imposed with high penalty. Must punish him, the monk. Punish with what? Excommunication. Totally boycott, cut him off, you see. Boycott. So meeting say yes, all agree to boycott this Chanya. So after they let Ananda to carry out, to inform him first. So after a meeting, Ananda informed Chanya. So during the meeting, Arahant all decided to boycott you, to impose the highest penalty, excommunication. No one never talk to you or never mix with you, leave you alone totally, never support you. So that's a decision made during a meeting. So this Chanya was very sad, after hearing this. So he was alone. Then he went, left the place. He practiced, and he attained arahantship. So again, once he attained arahantship, so all the previous charges are not effective anymore. Reason similar to that, Ananda. Here, last paragraph. Dwell alone and practice hard. He, the Chanya, attained arahantship. Therefore, the charges cease to be effective. The text only tell you cease effective, and I cannot offer my own answer lah, personal. Simply give answer, no good lah, you see. No. So again, China became Arahant. So all the past mistake, forget about it. That's what they say. Just like Ananda, all the mistake people say you make all the mistakes. Before that, since now you're Arahant, forget about it. This reason. Why? We don't know. Never, text never explain. So you may have your own reason. So many people come up with different reason, that's a problem, you see. Then end of meeting over. Because the last issue they discussed was the penalty, the charges against the Chania, the charioteer of Buddha, correct or not? So end of meeting, all members, of course, they start deciding all the sutta, all the Vinaya rule, Sangiti. They chant in unison. They chanted in unison all together, the same Dharma, that means same sutta, same Vinaya rule, all systematically codified. Codified, that means item by item, or noted down, codified. All the monks, Arahant during a meeting, all memorized, because they have to chant everything together. Everyone learn the same thing, remember the same thing, all in their head. So they chanted in unison. So remember, according to early texts, Vinaya Sutta, the meeting only decided Vinaya rules and the Dharma. That's all. They never decided Abhidharma. They never say Buddha compile Abhidharma. Nothing else. Unlike the commentary, they say other things that was according to commentary . So the tradition also says that when Upali decided the rules, as I told you, they started with the first 4 parajika, correct or not? Then all the rules, this according to the commentary . He decided Parajika, Pasittiya, Mahavagga, Cullavagga, then all the Khandaka text, the last text, Parivara text, whatever we can see in the modern day, the 5 volumes, Cullavagga and Mahavagga make up Khandaka, correct or not? Then all the Bhikkhuni Vibhanga, the Mahavibhanga, the Sutta Vibhanga, 1 text. So you break down detail, the 5 texts, the Pali Vinaya, 2 Vibhanga, Bhikkhuni and Mahavibhanga, and 2 Vagga, Cullavagga and Mahavagga. Combined, they call it Khandaka . Last one is a summary text, index, they call Parivara. So altogether 5 texts according to the tradition. These 5 texts have been decided during the meeting according to tradition. Remember. Then not tradition mention another things. Regarding the Banaka system. Tradition says that means tradition, when I say tradition, that means the commentary that compiled by Buddha Gosa 800 years later. That's according to Theravada's tradition. It says that after the meeting, another thing that you have to note is that it's about the revision of works. Revision of works means here, Buddha's teaching, those decided during the meeting, you have to, split up the works. So and so, you are supposed to memorize this, so and so you memorize that. So this is what we call division of works. In the actual term, they call Banaka system lah. But here they never use the term Banaka. So according to Buddha Gosa, after a meeting, Buddha's teachings, the sutta, have been assigned. The memorization of the sutta have been assigned to 4 main senior disciples and their monk followers. First, Ananda and his disciple. Ananda and his disciple responsible for safeguarding of Dikha Nikaya. Safeguarding here means not keeping the book. Oh, because that time no black and white, no textbook. So that means that Ananda, you and your group of disciples, just supposed to memorize all the sutta in the Dikha Nikaya. Then Ananda and the disciple go to the east station there, and then you stay there and memorize this, so that the teaching will not be lost. So you memorize, and later you pass on, transmitted to your junior memorize, and then another junior, another generation. That's your job. Okay. Then Sariputra and his disciple, you go to the south there, and then your job is to memorize Majjhima Nikaya. Not only Sariputra and Sariputra's disciple. Then the third one, the Samyutta Nikaya. Oh, this assigned to Mahakassapa and his disciple. Go to the western region. You and your follower must memorize all the Samyutta Nikaya. Then Anuruddha and the disciple, you go to the north, memorize Anguttara Nikaya. So one thing funny is that they never mentioned Khuddaka Nikaya, only 4 Nikaya. How come in the commentary they say all the sutta in the 5 Nikaya have been memorized? Correct or not? So it's a bit of inconsistency lah. This Buddha Gosa's commentary. It's not early text says that. All mentioned in the commentary. That's why I use the term, be careful. Tradition says that after the meeting, memorization or your so-called safeguarding of the sutta be assigned to the 4 disciples, chief disciples, and their followers. These are the details. Ananda, Dikha Nikaya, Sariputra, Majjhima Nikaya, Mahakassapa, Samyutta Nikaya, Anuruddha, Anguttara Nikaya. So there's a division of work according to Buddha Gosa's commentary. Okay, that's how the teaching of Buddha have been preserved, memorized, and transmitted until today. This according to their theory, according to Buddha Gosa's commentary. Okay. So after council, no more lah. So council over lah. All the duty work have been allocated lah, assigned to different people already. Those want to charge cannot be enforced anymore because all became Arahant. Even Chanya also, they wanted to charge him. Sorry, he became Arahant. Cannot enforce. Now you come after me and charge me. Now I'm Arahant already. You cannot touch me. Something like that. So everything Kautim settle. Assignment, memorization, all allocated, all Kautim settle. All left the place. Ananda went to where? Went to Kausambi to talk to preach the queen, the 500 queens there in Avanti kingdom, like Kausambi. There was a later saying that nothing to do with the meeting. And then Mahakassapa went where? Mahakassapa after meeting, not according to early text, according to the later Buddhist text, he walked alone. He left Rajagaha. Then he walked to a nearby Gaya, the Kukutara Giri, chicken foot mountain. English word chicken foot mountain. Nowadays, not all the people will climb up the mountain. In 2008, I followed another group. We climb up. And very few people went up there. You know, the story is that Mahakassapa went climb up the mountain personally alone. And the side of few mountain people. He was sitting, meditating in between, you know, three mountains, then slowly close, you know. Mahakassapa was meditating in samadhi, deep concentration inside. And then why? He was carrying Buddha's robe. You know, Buddha before Pali Nibbana give one set to Mahakassapa. The story, you know. And then he was keeping the robe, meditating alone in the chicken foot mountain. The mountain closed tightly, protect him. He was alone inside. And waiting for what? Waiting for next Buddha, Maitreya, to arrive. Then he offered a Buddha's robe to him. That was a later story, not in the early text. The story says that there's a significance of chicken foot mountain, Kukutara Giri. The mountain is quite near to Gaya. So this year, end of this year, I drafted the itinerary for Agent Tan. He will organize a trip to India this year. But now got around 23 people already. So one of the place I recommended in the itinerary is this chicken foot mountain. So if you want to join Agent Tan this year, you better contact him or contact me so that I can tell him lah. So there's a story about Mahakassapa Ananda after the meeting. Then there's another story after the council. Another chief disciple of Buddha, Purana came. You know, he came late. He didn't attend a meeting because he was somewhere outside. You see. So he came to Bamboo Grove. People told him, "Oh, the meeting was over. We have chanted the sutta. We have decided the rules. These are the rules." Mentioned Purana. They say, "Oh, these are rules. You better follow." Like those 500 Arahant. Purana say, "No, I personally heard from Buddha's one. That's why I follow what I heard from Buddha." And according to some this text, Purana practice slightly differently from the Theravada's rules, you see. Especially, I think, the cooking, related cooking. You see. So, nothing else. What are the significance of the first meeting? Systematically compiled of what? Vinaya rules, sutta, or codified, we say one by one, noted down, arranged correctly. They say all the rules, and that's why we say all the rules and all the sutta have been systematically codified, confirmed. Important thing. Then all the rules, minor rule or major rule, remains the same. Even though Buddha said that minor rule can be ignored or something like that. But during a meeting, all decided, to keep all the rules, all the Arahant there, too. These two important things, rules. Of course, you don't say, "Oh, work have been assigned to various monks," because in the early teaching, he never mentioned. This one only mentioned in the late teaching. So we don't say historical significances. There was a late teaching only. So these two major decisions regarding the first council. Anything else? Before we stop for 10 minutes, then we go for second council. Second council is a bit longer, more complicated. Juliana, any problem? No, you heard many times already.
Many times.
But they never tell you the differences between traditional belief and the actual teaching according to early text. You remember?
Normally they will jumble up the whole thing.
Yes, that's why people, because even the teacher also don't know this is according to tradition or according to early text, they all lump together. They say everything Theravada, that's okay. Once they say everything Theravada, that's true. You say everything to early text, that's wrong, because some are not, some information you can't find in the early text, only find in later text, Samantapasadika, the commentary, especially the talk about the assignment of the duty for all the five, for the monk to memorize. Talk about the five Nikaya, talk about Abhidhamma, all this you never find in the early text one. So they ought to be safe. Everything jumble up. Then they use Theravada. Okay, that's true. Because Theravada consists of all this early and late teaching, right or not? You cannot say they are wrong, they are correct. But you say all these are early teaching, that's wrong. There's something wrong. Everybody want to say, oh, this Buddha's teaching, Buddha say this. Even though they jump up with a late teaching, they say Buddha's teaching. I mean, you simply use all the old teaching, put into Buddha's mouth, right or not? Cannot. You cannot say, oh, Buddha use a laptop, use a Zoom to propagate. Cannot, right or not? You see, right or not? Or Buddha use a handphone, DeepSeek AI. No, you don't mix up with all these things, you see. Any other things? No, nothing. Then we stop about 5 minutes. Then we talk about second council. That one's a bit long. It was held slightly more than 100 years after Parinibbana of Buddha. Okay. After first council, now you have second council. Second council, why was it held? There was no reason. There are two theories, because the Theravada got their own reason account about the second council, and the northern tradition also got their own records about the second council. So northern tradition, we refer to those Buddhist texts in the Chinese translation, because the original Sanskrit text or Gandhari text all disappear, no more. So in fact, in Chinese Buddhist texts, they have all sorts varieties, all different schools of Buddhist text, more complicated than the Theravada tradition, because the Theravada tradition only records, gives an account of Theravada's teaching. In Chinese text, you have teaching of Agama, the Vinaya school, Sarvastivada, Dhammagottaka, this and that. They got so many types of 5 or 6 types of Vinaya rules, or 6 or 7, 5 or 6, 7 Buddhist schools, Vinaya texts, 4 or 5 or more than 5 schools, Agama texts, Abhidhamma texts. So many schools are there. They got Vajrayana's text record. They got Mahayana's text record. They got Mahayana. They got the devotional type, the Abhidhamma's record. They got philosophical school, Madhyamika's Buddhist text, Yogacaرا's Buddhist text, complete range of all the schools. Not to say all the schools complete text, I mean different type of schools, different type of philosophical system or Buddhist teaching in Chinese record. So regarding the second council, we pick up a few texts that belongs to Chinese. I mean a northern tradition. The most important one is Sariputrapariprrcha Sutra. This sutra belongs to Mahasangika school. So all these schools, then Abhidhamma Vipassana Sastra Savastivada school, Samayabhedoparacanacakkra of Savastivada school. So all these different school, I think some of you may first time you heard about this, but never mind. After today lesson, after this we talk about last two lessons of the first half, we talk about the 18th school of Buddhism. Because it's very long, 18 school, I will spend 2 lessons to talk about 18 schools later. So for this second council, we have to examine not only from Theravada's point of view, we have to examine, look, and study what other tradition says about second council. That's what we say. That's what I say, historical approach. Because for other exam for Sri Lanka, they only look for Theravada, one aspect. In a proper academic study, we look from both sides to present everything to you. Yeah. So maybe this is the first time, Juliana, you come across this northern tradition in regarding the second council. Because all this while, whether you're from internet, from a teacher, all talk about one aspect only, you know. Right or not? Theravada's version, you see. So in the past, from all the teaching, whether from Bapu or from various monks, they only talk about the Theravada's version only. Maybe they are, most of them, many of them, they are not aware of the second, I mean the northern tradition, honestly. The only monk that has talked about the second council correctly from both traditions is Bhante Dhammapala. He's the only monk, only Bhante, only teacher heard about this complete tradition. So hopefully I'm talking second people to talk about this complete for you to know. Otherwise you are all this while, you know, only 10 Vinaya rule, second schism, this and that. It's only part of the story. Not so good lah. You must know both sides, how they argue lah. That's to be fair lah, you know, the academic point of view lah, historical point of view lah, not traditional point of view. Tradition, then you follow your tradition lah. But you want to know more, then you have to come to a university and study. Their approach different. So never mind, we want to talk more, otherwise no time already. Then if I cannot finish, I carry on, never mind. You can view from your recording, Sister Raisen, Satya, that also can, you see. So okay, according we talk about the southern traditions point of view regarding the second council. You know the meaning of council, the purpose of calling for the council meeting, right? Now we want to repeat. So we go straight to the point. From regarding the second council's meetings, from Theravada's point of view, when was it held? As I say, slightly more than 100 years after Buddha's Pali Nibbana, that all the schools, 18 schools agree, no dispute, you see, because this is part of the history, you see. When was it held? Around 383, 4th century BCE, before Common Era. So there was about 100 years after, and then it was during the reign of King Karasoka, Susinaga dynasty. Susinaga dynasty, have you heard of it? You haven't heard. During Buddha's time, the King Bimbisara, the one what dynasty? Everyone knows Magadha Kingdom, correct or not? Magadha Kingdom in Bihar. What dynasty is that? They have a name of because if they call it a dynasty, that means from father to son, son to grandson, straight lineage for their own family members only. So we make it a dynasty, this is what we call dynasty. Kingdom is just kingdom, but kingdom itself, the system is dynasty system from father to son, son to grandson, and not to outsider. Outsider overthrow you, form another dynasty, another kingdom. So this, during Buddha's time, the Magadha kingdom was known as Haryanka dynasty. So when Magadha kingdom was thrown out, and then next dynasty called Susinaga dynasty. It's a Chinese Han dynasty, Qin, after Qin dynasty, Han dynasty, and then Sui dynasty, and right or not, then Tang, southern northern dynasty, then Tang dynasty, Song dynasty, all these things dynasty. So India also the same, you see, very few people talk about Indian dynasty. That's a problem, you see. So Susinaga dynasty that follow the Haryanka dynasty of Buddha's time, you see. So during that time, it's around 100 over years after Buddha passed away. King Ajatasattu gone, no more already. Next dynasty came up. So the second Buddhist council was held during that time, where in Vaisali, Vaisali, depends on your spelling lah. So the second dynasty, second Buddhist council was held in Vaisali, 100 over years after Buddha's Pali-Nibbana. Why? They must have a reason. Everybody also know lah. Tell you, 10 illegal rules, right or not? Everybody said 10 illegal rules. That was the main reason. Why 10? Because the Wajan monk, Wajan, what's the meaning of Wajan? Wajan Republic is a general federation opposite the Magadha kingdom. Magadha kingdom was located at the southern bank of Ganges River, Patna, the side, Rajagaha, Patna, Nalanda. Across the river, the other river bank of Ganges River, there was a federation. It's not a kingdom, federation, just like Malaya, federated Malay state. That means a lot of states are even combined, joined together, form a federation. They call Wajan Federation. And there was a Wajan Federation combined at least 3 to 4 different states during the time. They call Wajan Republic. The main one was Dichavis. You heard about Dichavi tribe, Dichavi. So this Wajan Republic, the main capital was in Vaisali. So a lot of monks there, the so-called Wajan monk, they practice the 10 rules, 10 rule, collect coin, this and that. To them, they say no problem according to Buddha teaching, but from other part of India, those monks, they say, oh, this is illegal, all this rule against Buddha's teaching. Then what are the 10? 10 rules. The 10 illegal rules are practiced by the Wajan monk. Number 1, they store the salt in the cow's horn, and they carry with them, But every time they go for pinapat, after that come back, it's not so tasty. They take the horn there, a bit of salt in, then make it more tasty, Then they practice this, you see. Then second rule, they practice. They eat after the shadow has passed 2 fingers bread. That means normally when we say exactly midday, that means a shadow, and there's sun on the top, you cannot see the shadow, correct or not? A stick there, you put a stick straight 90 degree. And then afternoon, if that time was a midday, you don't find any shadow, correct or not? So if you notice a shadow appear, that means it's afternoon already, correct or not? Understand? But Buddha's the rule says that so long as a shadow won't cross 2 fingers spread, they will not so wide lah. Never cross 2 fingers lah. That's still okay. Give some allowance to you lah. That was during the time there's no clock, what, right? Not today. You look at 12 o'clock sharp. Oh, afternoon. But that time they use a stick, and then they notice that, oh, so up to the time no shadow, then you stop eating already, or else it's afternoon already. Correct or not? But this Wajan man even cross 2 fingers shadow also they keep on eating, you see. And they practice this. Number 3, they finish a meal in one place, makan, or stop there, people offer food, then they eat lah. After eat, still not full lah. Walk to the next kampong, offer again. Right now, there's a OUG there, get some little food, not enough. Nearby what housing? After OUG, there's maybe the Old Crank Road, the roadside there. Ask for food again, then eat again 2 times. Against the rule, you only finish once you have collected enough, you finish it enough already. Don't walk around. Oh, the side famous for bak kut teh. For again, cannot, you see. Third thing, they practice this. So first we give reason why.
Sorry, Brother Yap.
Yeah.
This 1 meal a day was during the Buddha's time, is it?
Yes.
Because now it's like as long as we
2
eat
meal.
in the dawn and the solar noon, then it's okay, ma. You never say 1 meal a day, right?
We discussed this. First, against the rule means why people say that you cannot keep the salt in the horn, storage of food.
Yeah.
They're against. Then the sun, 2 fingers. 2 fingers, Buddha allow maximum 2 finger. If after 2 finger, afternoon. So the other monks say, oh, this Wajamang against the rule. You eat take food. You took consume food afternoon, cannot. Third thing, oh, you went for after this you went for another meal. Oh, you 2 times 2 meals a day. Cannot. 2 meals a day, Once you finish complete as 1 meal, you see. When again another place ask for it again, 2 meals a day.
How about breakfast and lunch?
That time I don't know.
That one is different. This one means like probably meaning lunch. They had 2 meals for lunch lah.
Two meals,
Like that lah.
2
That's
meals
the meaning.
during
Okay.
lunch. You see.
Understand. Okay, thanks.
So the 4th one, Sangha ceremony, as I say, must be conducted in the same sima. Correct or not? Uposatha day, ordination must be conducted in a particular sima. So a monk in the same sima, in the same region, you only come to a particular sima. You don't go to another sima, conduct another uposatha or another matter again in another division. You see, conduct various sangha ceremony separately, although in the same sima. So this same sima you must conduct a proper meeting, proper affair. You cannot go to another place, another region, or another place in the same sima. Also cannot. Sima only meant for certain important affair. You cannot have 2 different 2 sima in the same region. I mean, olden rule lah. Of course, now you get in the same temple 1 sima lah. You gotta have 1 temple 2 sima, sima hall. That means that in the same place, same sima, same region, 1 place to conduct the official business. That's what they mean now. You cannot have this one sima hall already. All the while you conduct your uposatha, then next day you go for there, same region, a different place, different sima, maybe nearby another region. Or if you talk about the same monastery, or this smaller designated sima, then you next say another consider another sima. Cannot only one place, one sima, one community. Fifth, perform before obtaining consent. All this like Uposatha, if someone cannot attend, you must appoint a proxy, official proxy first. You cannot attend first, then only okay, make a decision, then only go come back to another further obtain the permission. Cannot. Proxy permission first, then discussion. And cannot make decision, then only go back and get the proxy. Cannot. Opposite lah, Perform ceremony before obtaining consent or proxy from the absentees. Cannot. Unlike nowadays, modern day, the companies, a lot of company secretary, the list everything, practice first, decide first, then go back to, director, sign. Right or not? Cannot. Modern days, they got a lot of ways. Just like, the company appointed so and so to deal in the share purchase, invest in the stock market. So he go and buy, make profit his account lah. Lost. Quickly pass a resolution. This first sign, the first sign. Cannot, So olden day also, you must get the proxies, get the consent first. Then we carry out the official business. Then number 6, follow the customary practice. You can say, in the past, so and so my senior did it this way, so I also follow his example according to custom, a customary tradition, according to tradition, in order to justify his practice. Also cannot. You have to follow, adopt. Number 6, certain practices because of what? Because it was habitually done by his teachers before. Also cannot. Follow rule by rule. Cannot. This pure did that, I follow him. Cannot. Number 7, eating semi-churn, semi-solid. Also cannot, because semi-solid still a suspension, this and that. Butter after the midday meal. Not complete liquid form. Consider solid meal. Cannot. There's afternoon already, you see. After his midday meal. Number 8, drink toddy. Even though it's low alcohol, a little bit alcohol also cannot. But this Wajaman, they practice all this. Even semi-solid also they consume. A little bit of wine, like shandy, few percent also. Of course, not the olden days shandy. What I mean is that a little bit of alcohol content also they consume. You see, all this against the actual rules, Vinaya rules. Using the mat without fringe, without border, considered a luxurious item. Sometimes you see the monk, Burmese monk, they bring a piece of cloth and sit down, they put on a chair, correct or not? There's a mat. And you notice a border, the solid border, you see. And there's a rule. Then the last one is the most important thing, except gold and silver. So the Vajra monk accepted this during the festival day. They say this money is not for them to use. They explain, it's for the monk, maintenance a temple, maintain a facility. It's what they explain. That's why they accepted gold and silver. So these 10 practices, 10 practices were carried out by the Vajra monk during those days. So it was discovered by one monk from the western side, Yasa. Yasa is a monk. West means western side of Vaisali in the nowadays central India, where Vaisali and Magadha on the northeastern side, you see. You talk about the western side, should be towards New Delhi, Allahabad, or Avanti, Kausambi, the side, or Savasti, the side is considered west. Those days, western side of Patna, western side of Magadha, western side of Vaisali, that's called the west. So the monk from west never practices 10 rules. So they complained. This Yasa came to Vaisali, they noticed this. He went back to complain to those monks in the west. You see. Then what happened? Yasa called up those monks in the west. They say these Vajan people practice all the illegal rule, not according to Buddha's Vinaya. So a lot, they decided to hold a meeting to discuss. So before the actual meeting, they form a subcommittee first, minor, what we call a preliminary meeting. So, okay, otherwise too many people, they discuss, cannot end. So preliminary meeting, they appointed 4 monks from the west, 4 monks from the east. East means the Wajan side. Then they discuss, you see, what to do, what to carry out during the actual meeting. So the actual meeting, they decided to be held in Vaisali. Okay, the chairman should be Sabakami. They have the preliminary meeting, make all this preliminary arrangement first. The venue, and they have decided. Chairman, they have decided. So how many Arahan? 700 Arahan, they have decided, selected by one of the senior monk, Revata. You see. So after that, once all these things, arrangement, administrative works have been arranged, decided, they call an official meeting in Vaisali. Okay, so 700 Arahan attended a meeting with Sabakami as a chairman. Then, okay, procedure, they follow. During the meeting, one by one, every rule, they have study and question. Then they come to the decision, you see. So meeting lasted for 8 months, discuss and discuss one by one. And at the end of meeting, everybody, all the time no school yet, no Theravada, no, don't tell me Theravada agree, no. All the monks on it, the time no schism, all the monks agree. These 10 rules, practiced by Vajra monks were illegal, against Buddha's Vinaya rule. All agree already. Full stop. That's according to the early Buddhist text. According to the Buddhist text, they say all agree. But then according to the tradition, Theravada's commentary, again by Buddhaghosa, he compiled a commentary. When was it? About 800 years after the meeting, 5th century AD. That was about 800 to 900 years, 100 years after Buddha passed away should be around 4th century BC, correct or not? 4th or 5th century BC. Buddhaghosa 5th century BC. So 5th century, 4th century, 400 over years before, 400 over years after, before Common Era and after Common Era, roughly about 800 to 900 years, you see. So about 900 years later, this Buddhaghosa came up with the commentary text. Add in a lot of new information, It says what? After the meeting, the Vaisali meeting, a group of monks disagree, he say. Majority disagree, not a group, majority, especially the young monk. They say, we disagree with the meeting's decision that 10 rules were illegal. No, they say. So this group of young monks, majority, they left the meeting. They went to another place. They held another meeting. Then there they change the rule, change the Buddha's teaching, sutta. Then they have their own version of Tipitaka. That's what tradition or Buddhaghosa says. in the text Samantapasadika, as well as in the Sri Lanka's Chronicles. Mahavamsa, Dipavamsa says that. That means Sri Lanka's sources, all the Theravada sources says that the group among disagree. They left after the Viceroy meeting. They convened their own meeting. They changed the rule. They changed the text, sutta, and they followed their own new rule. That's why schism happened. The majority who left, they were called Mahasangika. Whereas those who follow the original rules, original teaching were Thera. So they call Theravada. So the tradition says that, Buddhaghosa says that schism happened after the second council because the group disagree and form their own their rules and their teaching. That's why according to Theravada's tradition, since the Theravada accepted the early teaching as well as the late teaching, like the Samantapasadika late teaching, so combined together, they say schism happened after the second council with the formation of two schools, Theravada school and Mahasangika school. That is the Theravada's view. See? But we cannot say this early Buddhism's view. Different. Early Buddhism never mentioned this. Mahasangika left the meeting. Early Buddhism only say 10 rules, this all illegal, full stop, all agree. No split, no schism. Okay? There's one, in fact, two theory, two saying, early text and the Theravada's theory according to commentary, according to Sri Lanka's Chronicle. That was Theravada's teaching. So now we come to the third, the northern tradition. What northern tradition says? You see, wait. So to confirm that whether the meetings were convened and all the school accepted the rules or not, then the scholar nowadays check all the Vinaya texts still available today. So one thing I have, you are not aware maybe, nowadays there are at least 7 sets of Vinaya rule still available, not only Pali Vinaya rules, and Pali Vinaya rules, Vinaya text is not the only text available. Even though Pali Vinaya text is the most complete, the only complete Vinaya rules, the rest not complete, or some very, very incomplete. Some is about a little bit incomplete, you see. But what I want to say is that there are at least 7 sets of Vinaya rule belong to 7 different types of school still available. Some in Tibetan, Sanskrit, some in majority in Chinese translation. For example, Tibetan they don't follow Theravada's Vinaya rule. They follow Muda Savastivada. And the Chinese nowadays, they follow Dhammaguttaka's Vinaya rule and not Theravada. And in the Chinese Buddhist text, they got at least 5 or 6 sets of Vinaya rule that belongs to different Buddhist school. They have a Savastivada's Vinaya rule in Chinese translation, even though it's not complete. The Dhammaguttaka's version, they got Mahisasaka's version, they got Mahasangika's version, Vinaya rule, they got the Kashyapa school's version. The Chinese has most of the Vinaya translation, even though all these texts not as complete as Pali version. But luckily, all the decision about the 10 rules still can be found in the text, Chinese text. So the scholar who conducted a research, thorough study of all the Vinaya rule, because nowadays the scholar, they expert in Sanskrit, expert in Pali, expert in English, expert in Chinese, expert in Tibetan. Yes, our professor, Charles Willeman. You don't know my professor, Belgium. He's good in, he knows at least 8 languages. 8 languages. Japanese, Chinese, Sanskrit, Latin, Tibetan, Pali. All he knows. Chinese. He passed away last year only, by the way. So scholars study all this. They check all the Vinaya text. They found out, all the Vinaya texts, even though they belong to different schools, they all say that 10 rules were illegal. Never say the Vajan are correct. They all say Vajan wrong. So all the different texts also say the same thing. It shows that after the Vaisali meetings, the 10 rule was confirmed illegal and accepted by all the monks during that time. There was no schism during the Vaisali meeting. Correct or not? Since all the text says that all illegal. Then why Theravada says that there's a schism after that? Or then they check the sources, the argument, or from where? Or from Sri Lanka sources, Mahavamsa, Dipavamsa, all such argument all appears not in early Buddhist texts, or in where? In Samantapasadika, the Buddha Ghosa's text. Oh, they said this argument saying that after meeting there were schism forming 2 schools. All these are later story later history and not the early history Correct or not, Juliana? You always have heard people say, oh, after second meeting there was a schism formed 2 schools. There's only part of it based on the Theravada's later teaching, but people never tell you you thought it's everything also like that you see. So I checked with all the information written by all these people. They mix up all these rules. They never mention the new tradition. They mix up the old rules, old original rule appear in the Vinaya, and then they mix up the later teaching found in the Chronicles, found in the Samantapasadika. But so long as they say Theravada's argument, that's okay. Because after all these Chronicles, Sri Lanka Chronicles, then the Buddha Ghosa commentary all belongs to Theravada's text, right or not? But so long as they don't say according to early Buddhism, that's okay You have to differentiate, which one is right, which one is wrong, which one early text, which one is the later argument. You should say based on the early Buddha's time, never say that. You based on a later argument by the Sri Lanka sources, then it says that. Then you have to be careful. Slot now. We finish the Theravada's view. Now we come to, so remember, according to early teachings, there was no schism, even though the Vaisali, the second council, that was true. All the 10 rules were considered illegal. That was decided during the meeting, second meeting, but there was no such thing as schism. All the young monk move away, they conduct another meeting. The one is a later theory. Okay. Now, second theory, Sariputrapariprrcha. Sariputra, you know Venerable Sariputra. Pariprrcha means asking, the inquiry, the questioning of Sariputta. Also, this sutra answers those questions raised by Sariputta. This is a Mahasanghika text. That's why you don't find the Theravada's place. You don't know the argument, actual argument, correct or not? This one appear in the Chinese translation. The original in Sanskrit, no more in existence. So only in Chinese translation. I was supposed to do this analysis for PhD degree, but due to COVID, I stopped it. No, Sri Lanka no response. So no choice. Forget about it. Sariputrapariprrcha is a very interesting Mahasangika Sutra. It says what, you know, during the time shortly after the Viceroy meeting, about 30 over years after Viceroy's meeting, is during the Kala Soka. Kala Soka means Black Asoka's time, the so-called Black Asoka, a king nickname, Black Asoka's time. During that time, there was a monk, the elder monk. He wanted to introduce additional Vinaya rule. He said, oh, nowadays a lot of new monk, young monk come out. They never observe proper rule. So in order to control them, to make them follow rule, tighten the rules, he wanted to introduce. In fact, he introduced some new rules, you know. So once he introduced a new rule, other monks, they disagree. They say, how can? Originally, the set of rules all came from Buddha, or personally spoken by the Buddha, or personally proclaimed by Buddha. How can you simply, 100 years old later, you simply add in another rule again? Cannot. So majority among disagree, you see. So this old Theras, introduce new one, they say cannot, we have to control the, add in more rule and control all the newcomers. So they argue, two groups argue lah. In fact, they asked the king, Karasoka, to mediate, to talk term to them, to control them, also fail. So no choice. Two group of monks form, one minority. Most of them are senior, Thera. They adopted a new version of Vinaya rule with additional rule added into it, you see. So another majority group of monks who disagree, or they say we follow back the old rule, original, proclaimed by Buddha. So this majority group who adopted the old rules, original set of rules, they call Mahasangika. That's what the Sariputrapariprrcha says. It's completely different from what the Theravada says already. It's nothing to do with the 10 illegal rule. Right or not? This is totally different version. This is because a certain monk, they try to add in new rules. Majority disagree. So this theory says that majority never make mistake. Only a minority try to add in a new rule. They cause a problem. Sri Lanka is different. Sri Lanka side, Theravada say a majority disagree. They came out and add in some rule. They change this, change that. So two different groups, two different theories that says different things. Even though the early teaching says no split. So this Sariputrapariprrcha's theory is like that. The minority seniors, Thera, introduce new rule. Majority disagree. That's why there were two groups of monks formed. That means there's a schism. One group Mahasangika, the other group is Theravada. They don't use the word Theravada. The modern scholar assign a word, they give them a name, Saviravada. Because the word Theravada, Savira, never appear in the Buddhist text. In the early Buddhist text, you don't find out the Theravada or Saviravada one, That's for convenience sake. Give them a label, easier for you to study. Oh, they form this group called Saviravada. So two theories. So this is Northern traditions theories. different from the Theravadas. Nothing about the 10 illegal rules. So remember the Viceroys meetings. All agree that 10 rules were illegal. There was no schism. Theravadas later, with the Chronicle, all this, introduced a theory, say that majority move away, created havoc, formed two groups. The Sariputrapariprrcha Sutra of late Northern tradition says that it was a few Thera who introduced a new rule, thereby created the schism. So two theories. So what the modern scholar says, modern scholar, after knowing the two sides, two arguments, your argument, Theravada argument, and Mahasangika's argument, you present your own theory based on what text. This Mahasangika presented the argument based on Sariputrapariprrcha. Then as a middleman, scholar, study. First, as I told you, all the Vinaya texts, they never say that schism. All 10 rules were considered illegal by all the monks. That's why early texts say no schism. Schism, theory of schism only came later. Okay, so again, the schism came later. The theory of schism again split into two theory. One is Theravada's theory based on Sri Lanka sources. The other Mahasangika's theory based on Sariputrapariprrcha. So who's correct? They have to check again. Then the first thing, scholars say Theravada based on Samantapasadika, which was compiled 5th century Common Era, and also based on Sri Lanka's Chronicle, Dipawangsa and Mahawangsa, which are also based or compiled during 5th century CE, Common Era, even though Dipawangsa compiled in the late 4th century CE. But then the Chinese Northern tradition, Sariputrapariprrcha, were compiled 4th century, 100 years earlier. And the scholar compare the Mahasangika's Vinaya rule. They compare with the Pali's Theravada's Vinaya rule. Then they see two things. Since Sariputrapariprrcha says that additional rule have been introduced by a certain Thera, then they check. Theravada's Vinaya rule 227. Whereas Mahasangika's less than 227 rules. First argument, Mahasangika, maybe they follow the old rules, lesser rule. Since the Theravada introduced a rule, they look at the modern Theravada rule, they found out, more text, more rules have been introduced compared to the Mahasangika's one. That means Sariputrapariprrcha's theories, first thing should be should be convincing, should be correct. Number two, then I compare the two sets of Vinaya texts, Mahasangika's text and Theravada's. Then they found out Mahasangika's Vinaya text was translated from the original source by whom? By Fa Xian. Fa Xian went to India to copy, transcribe. Those days they don't have follow stack copy, they have to word by word copy down. He went to India during the 4th century CE, Common Era. So this text should be earlier than the Theravada text. Theravada is 5th century AD, CE, Common Era, translated from the Pali text by edited by whom? By Buddhaghosa. So since Buddhaghosa only edited and translated the Pali Vinaya text in the 5th century CE, and Faxian's Mahasanghika Pali text dated or copy in India 4th century AD, 100 years earlier. So the modern scholar all agree what? Mahasanghika's Vinaya text, in fact, is earlier than the Pali's Vinaya text. Second thing, more reliable. The early text, as a rule, the early text is more acceptable. Second thing is that Sariputrapariprrcha says that Thera introduced more rules. That's why causing schism. Now they check, compare the two schools Vinaya rule. Yes, Theravada in fact more rule. Again, prove that Mahasanghika is more convincing, less rule. You see? So the theory is that the modern scholars, we are not talking about the Theravada monk, Theravada circle. Yes, the modern scholars, they all believe that schism happened after the Vaisali meeting and not during the meeting or split into two, no. Long after the Vaisali meeting. And the reason that caused the schism was because of some Thera. They introduced new rule. They're causing schism, and majorities, Mahasanghika, they adopted the old rule. These old rules form the modern day Mahasanghika Vinaya. You see, so there's a theory, the second theory. Then the third theory was Samayabhedoparacanacakkra. This is Savastivada text. So this text says what, you say there was a monk called Mahadeva. This Mahadeva introduced 5 points regarding the nature of Arahant. That means Mahadeva, this monk, give 5 reasons. It says that the Arahant were not perfect. Why? First, they say Arahant can be tempted by others because midnight he dreamed of a beautiful Devi. You know Devi? Devi is a female Deva. Deva is a male, I don't know. Yeah, Devi is a female. So this Arahant, in fact, he dreamed of the beautiful Devi come and seduce him. That's why he also mabuk. Yeah? So he's not. Arahant is not a perfect being. Then the second reason is that Arahant sometimes can be quite ignorant, not ignorant of Buddha's teaching. Ignorant in the sense that he has to ask people, hey, where's his Klang? How to go to Klang KL? This type of mundane, small matter. It's not perfect in the sense, still got some ignorant mind. Of course, the Buddha's teaching, they know. Other small things, they don't know. You see. Then third thing, Arahant have doubts regarding the still uncertain thing, sometimes still have doubt. He's not but in some doubts, he say. What sort of doubts? I never specified. Then the fourth one, Arahant may need others to help him to understand attainment. Need to gain knowledge through the guidance of others. Still require a teacher, still imperfect. He cannot say self-practice and confirm Arahant. He still need people to train and to guide him, this and that. Fifth, enlightenment can be facilitated precipitated by exclamation. How sad. Oh, dukkha. Oh, sad. During a samadhi, practice meditation, in the deep meditation, suddenly you say, oh, how sad, how sad. In fact, this is part of the practice, you see. Samadhi still have emotional reaction. So his mind is not considered as equanimous, not perfectly deep and calm, still can exclaim how sad this and that. There's all these 5 points raised by Mahadeva to say that, oh, Arahant not perfect, you see. So because of these 5 points are brought or raised by Mahadeva, so some people believe, other people disagree. So they form two groups. So two groups among. So there's a schism in that sense. But from Buddhist point of view, schism is always caused by the differences or different interpretation of Vinaya rules and not the teaching. So, but this teaching regarding the imperfect nature of Arahant is an indirect cause, because of this the teaching, two group of monks form, and then they stay away, they separated from each other, then they practice differently. So after some time, they form two group, two schools. So Mahadeva's 5 points is an indirect cause for schism. And not like the earlier Sariputrapariprrcha say, not like those Sri Lankan Chronicle or Pali commentary says that difference in Vinaya rule. The first two theories says talk about different in Vinaya rule that brought about schism, but the third one, Mahadeva, talk about different in doctrine, you see, which is considered as an indirect way, because formation of two groups, they move separately. After some time, two schools are formed. So 3 theories. So this is a summary of the 3 theories. One regarding the wisely meeting, no schism. But then Theravada says that the group of monks left after wisely meeting, they form their own group with their own rules, own sutta text. That's why schism formed after the meeting. Then Sariputrapariprrcha or Mahasangika say different thing. He say certain elders introduce rule. That's why two group school were formed. The third theory, the Mahadeva, this one is doctrinal differences. Two groups were formed. After some time, they formed two schools. So the conclusion is that the meeting in a Vaisali, the earliest meeting in a Vaisali, all agree the 10 rules were illegal. There was no schism confirmed by all the Vinaya texts available today. They mention all agree. So the schism only brought in by different, recorded in different texts, Sri Lankan Chronicles, Pali commentary. So in Northern tradition, the Sariputrapariprrcha says, talk about schism. And then in Sariputta, in the Pariprrcha, the Mahadeva's 5 points. So another theory, 3 theories. So that's it. Any questions? So you can either you off the recording or you ask relevant questions. Sister Lysia not here. Any questions? It's 10:20.
Very late already. I cannot think already, brother.
So, off the recording lah.
I have to get Sister Lysian to off it.
Huh?
Because she's recording it, not me.
But she's not here.
Mm.
How to off? Unless I leave the meeting lah. Automatic, no, because your side is doing a recording. It's not me.
Yes.
So is it off? You can give her a call.
Alright, I already sent her a message.
I think you call her better. Message people takes next day only. Look at the WhatsApp. A lot of people also 2 days, 3 days time only open.
I'm trying to call her now. She didn't pick up her call, so I think she's busy.
But yeah, never mind. We just ask the question of whether record
Yeah.
or not record, we can continue with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Ah.
Why Juliana is calling, listening? You ask your question.
Yeah, my question is, Brother Yap, my question is, how come there is a group of monks doesn't agree about the 10, the very beginning, the first rule that been set on the first?
Yeah, because they follow the Buddha's Vinaya rule. To them, law by law. It's not stated in Buddha's rule. Whatever you practice is wrong.
Why this to be allowed to do so?
Because different people got different interpretation.
So there is no a group of people to protect all this rule, simply someone say, I
that's
don't
why
agree, then
you read Pali Sutta. Buddha said that he never appoint a person to be a successor. No, that's a reason. So, Sister Raisen, are you going to stop the recording now? Or if you have something else to ask?